Welcome to this afternoon's Finance Committee meeting for February the 17th, 2015. Before we get started, we'll have a special recognition from our mayor at this time.
Join me down in the front, Council, if you would, and we will recognize our employee of the month. Yep. You don't know what it is. That's not a good thing. All righty. Got some things I need to crank up. Are you ready? Okay. Linda, join us up here in the front. Linda Gray began working for the City of Muskogee part-time in 2000, and in 2004 became full-time with Parks and Rec Department. Linda spends her time ensuring the parks are clean and enjoyable for park patrons. Linda was nominated for her dedication. Often Linda is forced to take a day off because she just likes being here. That's cool. Linda's dedication, work ethic, and great attitude are what has earned her Employee of the Month. And congratulations, Linda. We've got a plaque for you. Can I give that to you and we like shake hands or something? I'm getting ready to make a noise if it falls. Thank you.
So you pretty good with that quick smile like a politician?
Kind of like Dan Hall, just smiles all the time. Yeah. Linda, would you like to say something? Okay. Thank you very much. Enjoy your plaque. We appreciate having you.
All right, we'll begin with item number 1, please.
Consider approval of Finance Committee minutes for February the 3rd, 2015.
After review of the minutes, are there any corrections or additions?
Move for approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Ivory Van. Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
That item passes. Item number 2, please.
Consider approval of claims for all city departments February the 1st, 2015 through February the 13th, 2015.
Do we have a report from the Purchasing Committee?
Yes, sir. The purchasing committee met earlier today and reviewed the report of claims, and I move for approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. This item move forward. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
That item passes. Item number 3, please.
Consider approval of an agreement with WNBA's Tulsa Shock Team for traveling practice in an amount not to exceed $10,000 or take other necessary action.
We recognize Amy Riley, representing the Civic Center, and I believe she has some guests also.
Uh-oh. That was not. I'll get it. All right. Now, good afternoon.
Yeah.
The Muskogee Civic Center and Tulsa Shock have been working together now for about 5 months on the OSSA basketball tournaments coming to the Civic Center. However, after working with their wonderful team, we have also come up with other ideas that would be beneficial to both sides. And here to tell you more about our upcoming event ideas is Cordell Dement and Marlene Livaday with the Tulsa Shock.
Thank you. Amy, let me ask you a question. Is the Civic Center board here? I thought the Civic Center board would also be present.
We have some present.
Okay, if their chairperson would like to make a statement or come forward, if they would like, it's up to them.
Edwina, would you like?
I know I saw Ms. Hoffman and Ms.
Edwina is our chair, and she
Okay.
is here.
Okay.
Go ahead, Edwina.
Good afternoon. I'm Edwina Walker, and I am the chairman of the Civic Center Board Committee. And I just wanted to let you know that we have reviewed and met with the members from the SHOC, and we do have a presentation for you today.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. Won't be before you guys that long. Just kind of wanted to come and brief you guys about the opportunity that we've been in discussion with Ms. Cassandra Gaines, whom I would like to announce that has been made our ambassador for the Tulsa Shock by way of our president. So I'd like to congratulate her on that. My name, my name is Cordell Dominion, and just real brief so you'll know me. I am actually from Tulsa/Sapulpa, born in Sapulpa, but I'm from Tulsa. I've been in Atlanta for the last 10 years, and the Tulsa Shock actually brought me back in order to kind of bridge the gap between the surrounding communities, like Muskogee, and within our own kind of tight community there in Tulsa to kind of bridge the gap. There was no one there who was from that area, so they brought me in to do that. And so I went to school. I finished up at the University of Texas at Arlington. I played basketball, and then I went on to Southern New Hampshire University where I obtained my master's. So that just kind of gives you a brief backdrop on myself. With the slide, traveling practice. You guys have a deal where it's crossroads of culture, bringing exciting events to the community. And when we saw this, we kind of approached Cassandra in regards to a traveling practice. At first, we thought about a preseason game, but there are stipulations that would not allow us, according to the WNBA, to host it. So kind of liken it to Tulsa receiving the Thunder when they actually host a preseason game. We wanted to bring that to Muskogee by way of what we call a traveling practice, which is in a sense a game. It's a practice, but it's very interactive. We bring all the bells and whistles that you will see at a game, and we just bring it out in the traveling practice form. Now we have here drive, tourism, traffic, community, leaders, embrace diversity. Why this up here? Because we show a little graph of the overlapping, because you guys inherent and you guys have a lot of the same attributes that we do, which is we're here to help you guys drive tourism traffic, dollars, revenues by bringing the traveling practice. We know and we've had experience with Tahlequah and other areas where Muskogee and other areas that have actually brought the traveling practice to their city. So it's been very beneficial in helping to drive tourism and outside traffic into the city. Community leaders, when I say that, it's not necessarily individualized, but as the city, you guys are very, very, what word should I use? You guys are very into bringing and being the forefront leaders of bringing the attraction to your city. And we at the Tulsa Shock believe that we are a paramount part of bringing attractions to Tulsa. So in those areas, we overlap and embrace diversity. We're all about diversity. You guys, as you already know, are about diversity, and so we're a big component of engaging that. And the WNBA is a great way to include and bring about diversity within the in Muskogee community. Now, a major component of the traveling practice, and which is a component, an area of the traveling practice, which is our youth component. We're very big on developing youth. Typically, there are camps and there are clinics that one conduct, but we're very into bringing about our youth and bringing them into the fold, not only via basketball development, but we like to involve our youth in every capacity, whether it's just through the community, whether it's through games, whether it's through bringing them out, letting them be a part of an actual game, engaging our players with the youth. And so one of the things that we offer in the traveling practice are camps and clinics. And those are camps and clinics that are actually conducted by our coaches. And for those who may not be familiar with, our coaching staff is very versed. They've coached from college to professional to USC. A couple of our coaches have played professionally. So when we bring a camp and a clinic, it's not by way of secondhand teaching. It's professionals and professional players that will be engaging with the youth in order to be able to interact, to kind of deal with them one-on-one and give them an opportunity as a youth to be able to learn from some of the best in the business. And so with that, when we have our initial camps and clinics, it just kind of breeds way into us to continue to build a relationship. In every year going forward, maybe we can provide some type of camp clinics. I know you guys have the MLK Center here, and you have a lot of youth during the summer. So it'd be a good activity for us to maybe be able to come down, conduct clinics and camps with our coaches, with our players, to get our players and our coaches involved within your community. All right. You got the next slide, Mara? Now, the traveling practice is a first-class practice. It's not your it's a standard practice. And we go through all the, our coaches go through all the drills, everything that will be conducted in a practice, but it's made live and it's made interactive. So if you've ever been to a game, we have our mascot, we do shooting shirts, we toss out balls, we make it very interactive with all the fans who attend. They get an opportunity to actually meet and greet our players and our coaches, which is, you know, something that's very great. You know, we have some of the best-known players on our team, local heroes like Courtney Paris and Angel Goodrich, who is from the surrounding areas, and of course we have Odyssey Sims, Skylar Diggins, who's a world household name at this point with her and Nike. So we'll be bringing that. Let's see what else we got here. What I would like to do is to kind of bring Marlene up here to kind of discuss potential fundraising opportunities that the traveling practice offers.
Ladies and gentlemen, some of the things that are outlined in your presentation there, when we bring a traveling practice, with that money that you put toward the investment that you have toward the traveling practice, you receive several things that can help raise funds for the city or cover your costs on this. What that means is that when we bring the traveling practice to the Civic Center, you could charge admission. Say there's 2,000 or 3,000 seats available. You could charge admission $1, $2, $5. It's really up to the city to designate what they would like to charge, or if they would like to offer this as a community program. So there's a fundraising opportunity there. And then you receive an additional 1,000 tickets to any game that you would like to the Shock, other than opening night. So those tickets are worth a minimum of $12 each. So you have $12,000 worth of tickets that you could use as employee bonuses or reward systems for city workers, for educators, for various departments that you have. You could bring kind of like a Muskogee Day to the arena, to the BOK Center. So you can either sell off the tickets at a couple of dollars each or $5 each and use that additional money to cover the cost of the traveling practice, or use it as a bonus system. Also, if you choose to, you could find 3 or 4 additional partners to go in with you, say an automobile dealer or another business that would help fund this as well, and then give them a small portion of those tickets. So there are several different options that are available to the city of Muskogee. But we really think it's a great opportunity just to showcase professional sports, and it's something that not many cities do. And we believe that Muskogee is the front runner and kind of the community leader in projects like this. And that's what Cordell's showcasing right here. In addition to the traveling practice, there are also media benefits that come with this. We would do a press release. We would have our PR department behind it, putting out social media, helping promote it. I know Miss Cassandra has television contacts, and we would do the same, announcing it, and we would bring Tulsa media here to showcase that practice as well. They've come to several of our practices, and they love to put that on television. It's really a good community program. And so with that also comes a full page in our game program, and that is given away free at every game, and a 30-second promotion about the city of Muskogee. So we have what we call our live access broadcast, and that would have a 30-second commercial for tourism for the city of Muskogee, if you'd like to use it in that manner. And our live access goes out, it's viewed by about 212,000 different people across the country, and generally in the 12 markets where we host the WNBA games, such as Chicago, New York, LA, San Antonio, Atlanta, are some of the other cities. So those are some of the benefits you would receive with the traveling practice.
Okay, I'm gonna touch on the youth clinic because I think that's a very good component that we offer. You guys get to choose whether or not, if we go through whether we do it pre or post, but we conduct a youth clinic after the traveling practice, which would include our players, could include a few players, and our coaches. That's totally part of the package. So all the youth who decide to sign up and participate would indeed receive an hour and a half skills and drills from all of our coaches. So that's a great opportunity to really engage the youth, to get them excited. And typically what we try to do with our traveling practices and with our youth clinics is that we don't simply want to come in and conduct one clinic. We like to kind of make it a continual thing. We like to be able to come back, or whenever you guys see a need, and be able to bring out throughout our summer. Sometimes we have coaches and players sometime in market, and if we can get back and conduct additional clinics, then we can. But we like to make it a lifelong partnership, if possible, where we're providing camps and clinics to your youth via our professional players and our professional coaches.
That's just a little snapshot
Mm-hmm.
of some of our media.
Oh, okay. Right over that page. Yeah, just a little quick snapshot. You'll see that in your handouts. It just kind of gives you a quick synopsis of how much ground we cover in the media and where we go. We would take you guys. So to kind of end it, once again, we believe that it's a great opportunity for us to build our relationship with Muskogee, show you guys what we're about if you haven't been to a game, show you what we believe in. Your values, your focus are some of the same things that we have, and we're looking to bridge that gap between our organization and then hopefully the city and your city, so from one city to another. And we want to be the spearheaders of really engaging with Muskogee. We really feel that it is a very much untapped market. I've made, I guess now, maybe 5 or 6 trips. I've advised Ms. Cassandra that maybe I need to find me a temporary home here or something. But I find myself making a lot of trips because I'm loving what I'm seeing. Just great people to be around, and I want to be able to bring what we have to you guys and vice versa. So hopefully this gives you guys enough insight as to what we're offering. If you have any additional questions, of course, please do ask me. My contact information is within the package, as well as Marlene Liverday's.
All right, do we have any questions? All right, thank you for your presentation.
All right, thank you.
Council discussion at this time?
What do we need to do? My question was going to be, do we need to take an action on something that I think would ordinarily be in the city manager's purview?
Well, I brought this forward because there are some moving pieces with respect to, fundraising activities. And I
Okay.
wanted to make sure you're aware that I had your approval. And so the agreement,
Okay.
I'm asking that you ratify this agreement so I can move forward with assisting the Tulsa Shock and the fine pieces of either getting a partner like the Chamber of Commerce or someone to partner with the.
What funding source would we use to pay for this?
This will come out of the Civic Center's budget, $10,000.
And we've asked Cassandra to step up and bring events to our Civic Center. We've asked her to try to promote the Civic Center, and I think she's trying to do that with this. You know, we're spending money kind of everywhere else in the city to kind of promote things. I'd like to give her a shot, see if she can get it done.
Yeah.
And
Move for
see,
Second.
there we go.
All right, it's been
That was
moved and
easy.
seconded that this item moves forward. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
All right, that item passes. Item
Thank
number
you.
4, please.
Consider approval of a contract with National Casualty Company for excess workers' compensation insurance in the amount of $85,758, or take any other necessary action.
We acknowledge Roy Tucker at this time.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, this is a renewal of our excess carrier insurance. As you know, we are required by state law to carry this, even though we maintain self-insurance for our any amounts less than the specific retention limit. Last year, our policy that is expiring is with National Casualty. Premium was $73,311. Alliance Benefit Group went out and obtained 4 quotes from us. They asked for 4 quotes. We got 2. One renewal quote from Safety National, which is National Casualty Company, for $85,758. That's what's being asked for approval today. The other was from Midwest Employers, and that premium was $115,583. U.S. Specialties Underwriters and ACE Insurance both declined to provide quotes because their minimum premiums were $150,000 and $100,000 respectively. So I'm asking for approval to renew our policy with National Casualty. Happy to answer any questions.
This isn't funded through employee payroll, is it?
It is funded through the budgeted item for workers' comp.
Workers' comp. Move for approval.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any other discussion?
Councilman Coleman, my pausing is because it's based on the amount of payroll, but it doesn't come from payroll.
Okay.
It's out of what we call personal services counseling.
Okay.
What do you think caused the increase? Did our factor go up?
It was not strictly with the city of Muskogee. It was an across-the-board review. We did, in our claims, we did have a substantial savings in our experience. We went down about 65% based upon our numbers from last year. But interestingly enough, even though the claims we paid were that much less, we had more claims, but they just weren't for that much monetary value. So that impacted us as well as what's going around statewide.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. We have a motion. Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
That item passes. Next item, number 5, please.
Consider approval of a resolution directing the filing and notification of the publication of supplement number 13 to the Muskogee City Code of Ordinances, or take other necessary action.
In the absence of Pam, I'm not for sure who's going to speak on this item.
I can. It's just the publication has been printed. It's come in. She wants authorization to distribute it out.
All right.
Move for approval.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Okay, I have a comment sheet here. I don't know if this is the right place for it, Mayor, for Ms. Rudling. It didn't really say on.
It's a general comment at the end of the.
So it
Yes.
can go here?
Right now would be the appropriate time.
Okay. Ms. Teresa Rudlinger, we acknowledge you at this time.
Hold on. We
That would
don't
be
have
for-
public comment on finance.
Yeah, it'd
We're
be
on
for
public
That's what I was
works.
thinking.
Public Works.
I'm sorry. Okay. She's also signed up to speak on a special called item on item 2 on special call. Is that also no public comment?
No, she can sign up on an agenda item, but this
Not on
is
a
finance.
non-agenda item?
Right.
Okay.
This
Yeah,
is
She
on
I
can
thought I
fix
was
it
gonna be
on the end of
talking
Public
after.
Works.
that's mine.
Yes.
Okay.
I think if you could pass that one to me.
Yes.
We'll
think that goes
take your
Okay,
comments.
that's going to be after the
Public
city,
Works.
the special called city council meeting? Is that
After
where the
Public
special?
Works is what I understand.
Yes.
They're going
Public Works is the next agenda we're getting
So
to.
that's where I'm going to be talking.
Yes.
to- Yes, ma'am.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about that. Seeing no other business, the Finance Committee meeting is adjourned.
All right. Now call the Public Works Committee meeting for February 17th, 2015. Item number 1.
Consider approval of Public Works Committee minutes of February the 3rd, 2015.
Any additions or changes?
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
And the motion carries. Item number 2.
Consider approval of change order number 1 to construction with Williams Contracting Incorporated for the Muskogee First Responder Training Center or take other necessary action.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes, I'm going to have a handout. I'm going to start around. I have been designated spokesperson for this item.
Congratulations.
Helping the fire chief, Prague is here to assist, and also I want to acknowledge Dwayne Mass from Mass Architect. He's here also. As you are well aware, Dwayne is the architect that helped us with the airport terminal, was always there anytime we had issues that we needed to resolve. And once again, we've got a project that has an issue, and him and his company are right there at the table helping us resolve this, and we appreciate that. What we have, when I handed out the handout that I gave you, it has a location of 3 boring logs that we did. So what we did, we went out and actually had 3 boreholes put in the ground and had the subsoils checked. And the reason that I'm handing that out for you is to show you that we had 3 spaced out pretty appropriately. But when we started the project, that wasn't a real good representation of what was actually in that area. There was 24 more holes that was actually dug by the contractor, and it didn't reflect the same subsoil conditions as the 3 bores. So we feel like we did our due diligence in putting this together, but in reality, what lined up out in the field just wasn't what we represented to the contractor when we bid it. So therefore, the need for the contract change order. He came back to the table with us, which was Williams Construction, with our architect, and we had a first run at it, and it was almost $90,000 for the change order, and that was just a little bit unacceptable for the project and the price, given that we've got a 15% amount that's allowable for change orders for these type projects, and that contract total price was $823,600. And given that we may have something, in the future, we wanted to get that down. So we actually came to the table with the contractor, with Mass Architect, with staff, and we also brought in the people that did our geotech work, and we all sat at the table and hammered out a solution that we felt was very acceptable to remove the bad soil that was out there. It calls for an overcut of about 28 inches, and in the original concept, it wasn't to go that deep. So this was going to cost a lot more money to take out more bad soil to bring up. What we have before you is a change order for $16,443, and it's basically for the contractor to do all the labor, to do that overcut and to put a geotech fabric back down and to put that fill back in. Now, to cut price, the city's actually going to remove the dirt and have the gravel hauled in. We'll have to pay for the gravel ourselves, but that'll help control that price. It'll cut that $80,000 price range we were in almost in half. 16 of it will go to the contractor, and the rest of that, because we don't know exactly, will go to material, and that's going to run somewhere around $40,000 total. We really feel like this is an appropriate change order. We feel like we've really researched it and done our due diligence. Again, I wanted to point out that we did do our bore testings. Now, looking back on it, I wish we'd have done 9 instead of 3 and done more in the corners so we got a better reflection of what was underneath the ground. We do recommend this change. This is something that we're trying to keep moving along. Fire Chief Prog and Mr. Mass is here if there's any questions, but we do recommend approval.
Mike, where's the other $40,000 come from for the gravel?
The chief has that. Yes, the chief has that in his budget for the fire training center. We're just still trying to hold his amount down so he can get more pieces to the training center as he goes.
Mike, where's the exact site on this map here?
Do you know where the fairgrounds race track is, and then it had the grandstand? Mm-hmm. This is just north of the grandstand, right there.
My question actually was just basically where it is on this map.
The entire area is the area that's going to have to be excavated, and the actual fire training structure that they put up is in the corner up here of it, so that would give you the placement of it.
Okay.
The total change order is $16,443.
The full change order for the contract is $16,443, and that's to be paid to the contractor. Okay. Anything else to be spent will come through a city purchase order and will come through our procurement processes.
Any other questions or discussion?
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any other thoughts?
One more quick question. Is there anything we learned from this? I mean, it was just a fluke, or is there a different way? I noticed you said that it would be better in retrospect, maybe having done 9. Are we changing anything, or should we?
In the future, we probably would do more test holes. But then again, that may say we needed 24.
Sure.
When you're dealing with subsoils, and especially here, the bottom is not just truly flat. The subsoils have a differentiation to them. So, I wish we'd have done more. We didn't. We would in the future.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Well, on my projects, it's almost got me every time. You do more testing and you find more different soils conditions. But ultimately, you got to do what's required on the soils conditions to get it right. So I appreciate them finding out what's needed on site because it really doesn't change. We got to do what's desired on site, and I really appreciate them working together. And really, this is showing a local contractor like Williams working with us and working with PublicWorks at a solution, and really. With us buying the gravel, we're really saving where it would have been in the front end of the contract. So really, with this solution, we're kind of saving some money.
And I'm very glad you brought that up because Williams is not going to make money on this. He's really working with us, and we really did appreciate that. That is a very good point.
Typically on a change order, it's a high profit margin. On this one, on the solution where the mass architect is working with PublicWorks and Williams is working with us, really this is one of those change orders where it's unforeseen, but really it kind of works to our advantage because this would have been inflated cost in the front end of the project. So,
and when you have these type situations and you have the team effort at the table, in my world that is really, really good to have.
Kind of rare, but when it works, it works good.
So Williams Contracting, Mass Architect, as far as I'm concerned, I'd recommend them for any project.
Thanks, Mike. Any other thoughts or discussion?
Just cuts down on the cloudy days.
Thank you, Dan. I have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Stan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
The motion carries. Item number 3.
Consider approval of awarding the low bids to Blackwell Construction for removal and storage of the existing lock supply building in the amount of $14,400 and to Timco Blasting and Coatings for the demolition of the floor slab, grade beams, and the paved parking lot in the amount of $11,900, all located at the new Martin Luther King Community Center building site, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes, I'm going to introduce Gene Travell. I actually worked with him, Prog and I did, on putting this together along with Donnie, but this is actually Gene's project. So,
good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen of the council, Mr. Mayor. This proposal that we put in front of you today will allow us to deconstruct the existing lock building, lock supply building. And then we can, in turn, repurpose that building into two buildings the city can use at two different future locations. Hopefully one being the airport, the other being the material yard at PublicWorks. And then to save money in the construction of the new Martin Luther King building, we have accepted demolition of all the concrete, demolition and removal of the concrete, the grade beam, the building slab, and all the concrete parking. And we have a designated site 4 miles from the job site in which to put that concrete.
Any questions for Gene?
Move for approval.
Second.
The motion and second. Any other discussion?
Comment. This was in the general contractor's conditions for about $38,000. I would say this is another team effort. I appreciate Gene and PublicWorks. Here is a savings, and instead of demoing a building and throwing it in the trash, here we're saving about $10,000, and we're repurposing a building. Appreciate the city of Muskogee, Gene, and PublicWorks, and we're repurposing a building and saving money.
Yes. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Gene. I have a motion and second. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 4.
Consider endorsing Tulsa Metro Chamber 2015 One Voice legislation agenda regarding state and federal issues that may have an impact on Oklahoma cities, or take other necessary action.
Mayor Coburn.
Mr. Thorstenberg, that used to be a city employee for the city of Muskogee through the port, had asked me if we would sponsor this effort, and we have done this a couple of years in the past. And I think if you look through the items that are spelled out in terms of the attachment, education funding, increase education funding, diversity and municipal funding, revenue sources, defend all existing road funding, funding the quick action closing fund for the state, expedite implementation of the Arkansas River Corridor project, additionally increase appropriations for the McClellan-Clear Arkansas River Navigation System, pass the Marketplace Fairness Act, just to highlight some of those items. We certainly, every one of these items is not going to apply to Muskogee, but I think there certainly is a significant number that do, and so I would like to see us support this again this year. Move for approval.
Second.
Gene? Leanne?
Thank you. I think this is great, and I'm going to support it, but I would like to point out a couple of things. I looked through here, and of course, this reauthorizing the federal surface transportation programs, obviously all of those are all tied right into Tulsa. I realize they go out to, some of the ports and stuff like that. I'd like to see if we possibly at some time could look into having good representation with them. I know we're working closely with them and everything, but I'd like to see a little bit more,
Okay, now they invite us every year to this.
Okay.
To be a part of it, and I think
there have been some.
To you.
There have been some that have gone. I know that. Okay.
And I think they maybe do 3 different hearings, meetings before they arrive at an agenda.
Okay. And again, I think that a lot of these are good. There are a couple of things I wanted to ask about, and one of them is the reauthorization of the Elementary and Secondary Education Act and stuff. I know that this is an older program that has been re-looked at, but there are some concerns about it. With cutting spending to $800 million less than it was, just 3 years ago. And there are some parts about that divert money from low-income schools to, wealthier schools and things like that. So I think we need to be a little bit careful in some areas. I agree with most of this. I'm going to approve it, as I said, but I would like to voice my opinion there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Any other discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Motion carries. Item number 5.
Discuss street improvements at the intersection of North Country Club Road and Shawnee Street, and if necessary, take appropriate action.
Dan Hall.
Well, I put this item on the agenda because I was over by Country Club in Shawnee, and this intersection is given a little bit of issue. I know there's some safety reasons why we have the islands in there and everything, but as we develop Shawnee and Country Club area, that corner is becoming a real used corner, and there's some land and property around there that could be developed. But with these little islands in the way, it's going to stop some of that because you don't have good access to past Country Club. I would like to, and the only reason I put this on is to open up for discussion to see if anybody else feels the same way I do. Maybe we can get in touch with the ODOT and see if they're willing to rework this corner with us, and to see if there's something we can do about opening up access on around to the Votech and to where they built the new Connors College. I just think there's a lot of opportunity that way, and these little islands are blocking the opportunity that we want to produce that way.
My only concern, Dan, would be that before we identify someone to go on one of the other corners, would we be premature in making changes that we would then want to come back and reconsider depending on the potential tenant for any of the 3 remaining buildings, of the 3 remaining corners, southeast, southwest, and then potentially with what happens to the northwest corner. My understanding is that Come and Go is taking the canopy out on the existing building and then taking their identification off the building, and then it may be a different purpose. So I think my only concern would be, would it be premature before we can say what the traffic counts might be generated from the other corners?
Well, and my only problem...
We've got it into the CIP over the next 5 years to generate that money, and potentially there being a tenant identified.
And I knew there were some
Be
safety
specific.
reasons why they put them in there, but I know, and some of the CIP was set aside for the lights, the street lights and everything there. I just would like to see that opened up a little more, and I don't know how we could do that, just because it's going to block off access to the new Come and Go going across. It's going to block off access. You got to get back out on Shawnee, or you got to drive all the way around Country Club and back down Harris Road to get back around to Votech and Connors College there. I just would like to see that flow a little bit easier in there on both sides of the road. And that's the only reason I put it on here.
I agree with you totally that it's a messed up intersection.
Well, and I think what you said, you have to go around and stuff. You don't have to go around. You just go the wrong direction on the streets, and that creates a huge safety problem because it happens all the time.
Okay.
I did not say that. That was her.
Okay.
It does. I don't do it, but I've almost been hit head on turning and having somebody going the wrong way.
Coming from the south to the north at that intersection, I see that happen frequently.
Oh, yeah. Try going down that access road and turning south onto Country Club and facing a truck that is honking at you to get out of their way because they're in your lane. Yeah, and it happens, honestly, on both sides of Shawnee, and those are meant for safety, but people ignore them, so they really create bigger safety problems. And there's a problem also, as Mike and I have discussed numerous times, on the south side of that intersection. It's so low there, and when you have icy days like we had recently, and you have to stop at that light, which you always do, you can't get back, up onto Shawnee without backing up and getting a running start. So there's just a lot of safety issues that need to be addressed, even possibly before we look at some other construction?
Well, this is something that we could probably have staff, take a stab at and give you an update back in a couple of weeks about what we can and cannot do. I know that the Public Works Director, he's got plenty of information on Shawnee. Country Club is our maintenance, and so it poses a different set of challenges because I'm sure impacting state right-of-way requires their approval, and so we'll just need to look at it and see if we can do something. Mike, is that?
Well, very briefly, I can. I brought a handout. I actually took a shot out of the Come and Go's plan design. I'll just pass that around. It shows the island there for you, but it shows what Come and Go's going to do, so you can see how the driveway is. The actual project that Come and Go is not going to affect that road design at all. It's going to stay basically the same. What we have been talking about, and kind of leads us into item number 7, which is the Tiger Grant. We were actually trying to put together a grant to redo the intersection and the light and the signalization downtown, and we were going to submit that for a Tiger Grant application. And we discussed that with the street committee, and we were going real strong in that direction when we discovered that 24th Street really met the criteria better. So what I'm telling you is we have been working diligently to take the $500,000 that's appropriated for the signal improvement at Country Club in Shawnee and the $250,000 that was put together to do the improvements on the Court Street Viaduct. We're trying to take that money and combine it to $750,000 and use that as leverage to do a signalization project, and that's what we're really working on. We're trying to come up with a grant that will help fund bigger and better improvements to go along with our money. Otherwise, we're stuck just using that $500,000 at Country Club in Shawnee, which means basically signal improvement and some lane improvement, which we were going to widen out a little bit and work on the drainage. Doesn't solve that barrier issue that we have in there. To get that out, it's going to take a complete rebuild of the intersection, or that's not going to come out.
So Mike, I'm sorry, Mike. It looks like you could make a left turn on Country Club and not hit that median.
You can out of the proposed Come and Go's driveway, and that's why we set that up, so you could actually come out and get onto Shawnee to access it. The problem that Leanne, Councilman Langston, was discussing, those actually on the other side of the intersection, on the south side, and that's where I see
on both sides, but more so on the south side.
Yeah, because they're going to Lowe's.
Mm-hmm.
They cut through there to turn into that access road, and that's what we were going to try to do with the $500,000 was improve the intersection and then put some wider lanes in there that would allow for a little more divided traffic. If you go out there at 8 o'clock in the morning, you'll see a real problem out there with the school kids. That's when it's really, really bad, and that's what the light improvement was meant to resolve. In the meantime, working with the street committee, and Councilman Gully can tell you, we've had this on the street committee's agenda a couple of times. We've discussed it thoroughly and how we can move forward with the money that we have and better enhance that. So we're working on it. If you'd like a report in 2 weeks, I can give it. I basically gave it just then, but we can see what we can do. In the meantime, we're researching a grant. We've had one come forward we're looking at. We don't know if we're going to be eligible for it, but we're researching it. We're pushing one grant at a time. We've got a little grant committee put together. I'll tell you about that in just a minute at item number 7. But as soon as we finish up with the Tiger Grant, we're going to start on the signalization stuff.
Thank you, Mike. Any action necessary for Councilman?
No, I just wanted to open it up for discussion. It's something that I thought needed to have a look into and see where we were at on it, see if we could change anything. Just think that, like Mayor Coburn said, in the future we're going to do some stuff that way, or some people may start to develop that way, and we need to look into it more then, probably.
And Councilor Hall, I know one thing I hope we can also get to look at is what would be the options if there was going to be no development, because as we've already said, it's a nightmare of an intersection as it is. So something needs to be done, I think, whether we have development in that area or not. And so it would be good if Mr. Manager, someone could just give us a list of options and what it might look like and what might solve that problem.
I agree with that.
Thank you. Seeing no action necessary on that one, item number 6.
Consider approval to authorize the solicitation of proposals for the construction of public restrooms for the Honor Heights Park and Robinson Park or take other necessary action.
Mr. Wilkerson.
Mr. Chairman, committee members, this is item is to create 2 new restroom facilities, one at Robinson, one at Honor Heights Park. The restroom facility at Honor Heights Park is part of the redevelopment plan of Honor Heights Park and funding from the foundation. Robinson Park restroom is also will be funded in half by the foundation and half by the Ruby family, who's offered to match that. So there's 2 separate restrooms. The request to you is to solicit RFPs to do a design build for these 2 restroom facilities.
So Mark,
Is that the pictures?
I've got one question for you.
Yes, sir.
Jim, before we go, just for clarity, there used to be 2 restrooms on the splash pad side. It's my understanding we've had to close those.
He's talking about the ones that used to be a part of the bathhouse. You know, I think in one of our meetings you discussed where we turned them into where the
They're part of the pavilion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the old bathhouse restrooms, those were, yes, those were,
Gene will share.
when we opened the pavilion, we chose to close those restrooms to the outside to the public to make them available for the inside of the pavilion facility, so that when we have a private event or, so it works better that way. And that's the need for having this new restroom at Honor Heights, is to replace those since they were changed in how they're used. And at that time, we put the portable toilets out there. The location for this new restroom will be real close to where those portable toilets, actually just on the edge of the new playground.
Okay. I just want to make that, who might be watching on TV, they might not understand that we've closed 2 and this is to replace those 2.
Yes.
Thank you, Mark. Any other questions or discussion?
Well, I just wanted you, we've got the drawings, and I don't think they're on the TV screen. But if you can look at these, they are pretty nice. It's going to be nice facilities for the parks. I'm real excited about it, especially being the chairman of the park board. I'm excited. Robinson Park gets their restrooms, and so does Honor Heights get to replace a couple of theirs. I'm just really excited about some of the things that Mark's got on our agenda and moving forward and making our parks look really good. I'd just like to say thank you, Mark, for what you do for us.
Thanks, Mark.
They will be handicap accessible and really good looking plans.
Thanks, Jane.
You
Do
need
I have
a motion?
Please.
I move to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other questions or discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
The motion carries. Item number 7.
Consider approval of authorizing staff to submit for a Tiger Grant application titled North 24th Street Community Connections Improvements, or take other necessary action.
Mr. Stewart.
Yes, this item was discussed at the street committee level and authorized to go forward with it and put it on your agenda. This, as you well know, 24th Street is underway on the design plans, and the project itself is moving along. What we have discovered is that when we borrowed the $10.55 million to do the 3 projects, 24th Street, Martin Luther King, and York, we're not going to have enough funding in that package to fund 24th Street completely. We do have enough to keep us in good shape legally. We have enough money in the bank for the design work, for the utility relocation, for everything that's currently underway. Out of the $10.55 million, we've expended $4.5 million on York and about $4 million on Martin Luther King, which is $8.5 million, leaving us about $2 million in the balance. And Martin Luther King and 24th Street are about the same size project, and Martin Luther King's going to run, as you see, about $4 million. So we think that project on 24th is going to run somewhere between $3.5 and $4 million, which is going to leave us short when we actually get the bids out and are at the construction phase. So as the manager directed, we started looking at 24th Street for a Tiger Grant, and a Tiger Grant is a transportation investment generating economic recovery, or Tiger. It's funded through the Department of Transportation, and this project fits that criteria very well. The 24th Street project ties two highways together. Muskogee Street and Shawnee are both state highways, so the project ties the two together, which is good for the Tiger Grant. It also connects the bike trails, and as you well know, the Centennial Trail crosses 24th Street on the south and the north side, so it loops those together. And we've made 24th Street part of the Share the Road system for bikes. We're also going to put sidewalks down the east side, so it'll have pedestrian traffic on it. We're also have partnered with Muskogee County Transit. They've come on board with this grant project, and we're going to put a bus stop along that way, so it'll be a bus stop incorporated into it. And by the way, the participating partners in this project so far are NSU, so it has a school system tying this project together. EODD, which is not contracted with us on this project, but also is assisting with us, and if we get the Tiger Grant, we'll probably be looking at to contract with them to administer the grant if we get it. Muskogee Nonprofit is working with us, Julie and Rebecca. And by the way, we're meeting every Tuesday in Public Works. We've continued to meet since we started the EDA grant project. We meet every Tuesday at 2 o'clock to keep these grants moving. That's why I was saying I know that we're going to move into that on the Signal Light project afterwards. We also have OG&E. Mike Ruby's been attending. We've got OG bought in as a partner. ODOT has attended a couple of our meetings, so ODOT is a partner in this project. The Social Security Administration up on the corner of 24th and Shawnee has bought into this project. They're a participating partner. We've got Doug Walton and Muskogee Health, who's also there representing the complete streets and the pedestrians and bikes. He's participating in this with us, along with the city staff, planning, and Public Works Department. So we have a real good committee put together. We're trying to look at all aspects of a Tiger Grant. This project really, really fits this. The key component is that we've got about 50% of the money in the bank, which is what they want to see when they award these grants. We've got the money, so we're not promising a pledge. We're actually promising money that we actually have. All we're asking for today is the approval to do the grant application. We want to try to get that submitted April the 24th, but we want approval to move forward so we can start putting that together and getting it submitted. Hopefully we'll get that. We do think that it's a very good project and really meets all the criteria.
When do they award that grant?
That hasn't come out yet. We just know that in the past it's been submitted April 24th. We're waiting on those actual deadlines and dates, but we're preparing for historic dates. So
thank you, Mike.
Anyway, we did put this through the street committee, and it was approved through the committee, and we recommend approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Jenny Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
And the motion carries. Item number 8, Jan.
Consider approval of the appointment of Delcy Lewis to the City Facilities Board, succeeding Galen Sawyer, to serve a 5-year term beginning March 1, 2015, ending February 28, 2020, or take other necessary action.
Mayor Coburn.
I met with Delcy Lewis on Thursday, and we discussed this position, and I think she's excited about it and wants to move forward, and I would support that by recommending her for that position and ask for your approval.
So I have a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
The motion carries. Item number 9.
Consider approval of the appointment of Kim Deal Chrysler to the War Memorial Trust Authority to fill the vacant position and serve a 3-year term beginning March 1, 2015, ending February 28, 2018, or take other necessary action.
Mayor Coburn.
And again, I have not had personal conversation with, but we've got the application for Kim Chrysler, and I move for approval of their position.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
The motion carries. Item number 10.
Consider approval of receiving donated funds for the months of November 2014 in the amount of $435 and December 2014 in the amount of $2,425 for the city's animal shelter sponsorship program as per the attached list, or take other necessary action.
Chief Eskridge. This will be an easy one.
Council, Mr. Chairman, for the month of November, the city, or the Animal Shelter Sponsorship Program received $435. For the month of December 2014, the same program received $2,425 for an aggregate amount of $2,860 for our animal sponsorship program. We recommend that the city accept approval of these funds.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay.
Do I hear a motion?
Move for approval.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
And the motion carries. We have one person wishing to speak to this committee, Teresa Rutlinger. Teresa, you know I need your name and address, please.
Right, but I think I need to talk to you first. Teresa Rutlinger, 2500 Shelby Court. I think I wanted to talk to the city council on this versus the Public Works. Am I allowed to do that after the special called meeting or not? If not, I'll just wait for another special city council meeting.
City council, special calls don't have the public comment.
Okay, then I'll just do it another
Just a
city
regular
council meeting.
And then
'Cause-
for Public Works and Finance, we do it on Public Works.
Okay, because this is more of a city council thing, I think, than it is Public Works.
Okay.
Sorry.
Thanks. Seeing no one else wanting to speak to this committee, we are adjourned.
Now call to order the special call meeting of the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bob Coburn.
Here.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Here.
Dan Hall.
Here.
Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Janie Boydston.
Here.
Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Leanne Langston.
Here.
Ivory Van. Derek Reed.
Here.
Item number 1.
Approval of Muskogee Redevelopment Authority minutes of January the 26th, 2015.
Move for approval.
Second.
Get a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes. Motion carries. Item number 2.
Consider approval of a resolution authorizing the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority to issue a note, Series 2015-C, in the aggregate principal amount of $4,500,000 to secure the purchase of real property generally described as the three corners of U.S. Highway 69 and U.S. Highway 62, Shawnee Avenue, waiving competitive bidding and authorizing the note to be sold directly to the City of Muskogee Foundation, approving and authorizing execution of the repayment and transfer agreement by and between the City of Muskogee, Oklahoma, and the authority pertaining to transfer of the real property and repayment of interest obligations on a year-to-year pledge of appropriations, pledging said real property as security for the note, approving and authorizing execution of a loan agreement, authorizing the issuance and securing the payment of the note, providing that the organizational document creating the authority is subject to the provisions of the indenture, authorizing and directing the executive of other documents relating to the transaction or take other necessary action.
Mr. Tucker.
Mr. Chairman, members of the authority, this is for a $4.5 million loan from the City of Muskogee Foundation for the purchase of the remaining three corners of Highway 69 and 62. That is approximately 1.27 million square feet of land. As many of you may remember, this is pursuant to an agreement that we had reached with ODOT once we had the deal struck for the southwest corner. And then, oh, that is terrible, Gary. If you will look at your map in front of your screen, the portion, if you look at me on the northwest corner, there is a yellow square. That is county property. And can you give me the little light? The lightsaber?
There you go.
Don't give him that kind of power.
That may be a little more helpful. All right, before you go anywhere.
He's an attorney.
I tell you what, give me the microphone real quick.
Do it the old-fashioned way. Huh?
Okay. This represents the three corners of Highway 6962. This is the northwest, the northeast, and the southeast corner. This is the southwest corner, which is the Quick Trip development, which is well underway and soon to be opening. The property that the city is acquiring from the county is representative of this portion right here. This area here that I'm pointing at on the northwest corner is owned by the Board of County Commissioners, as is this little square here. And on the northeast side, we have county property that is owned by them here. What these red squares are is the property that is owned by ODOT, as well as this portion right here. As you can see in the southeast corner, there is nothing owned by ODOT, but this entire section is owned by the county. Pursuant to our agreement with ODOT, the city is to convey to ODOT, as part of the right-of-way, everything listed in the yellow that I'm drawing my fingers around. In exchange for that, ODOT is giving us all of their property in the red squares. And based upon my numbers, it looks like we have...
Roy, did I understand you say that ODOT is doing a land trade?
Yes, yes.
And there's no private ownership in these four intersections, or three?
Correct, correct. The property we are conveying to ODOT is 819,000 square feet. In exchange, on their land, they're giving us 343,000 square feet. So it's about a 2-for-1 trade, but of course, if you can see, their property is in the middle of the developable area and is far more valuable to us than the actual right-of-way. Pursuant to our agreement, we also have, I guess I can switch back now. We also have agreements for the approach. Gary, I think that's the third slide. Yes. And as you can see where the red dashes are, those are breaks and the limits of no access. As you may remember, part of the reason why this property has been stagnant for a number of years is because the entire area was no access limits from ODOT. So through our discussions, when we worked with the southwest corner, we negotiated limits of access for driveway approaches on the three remaining corners. So we think that will also add to the value of the property. What this resolution would do is to approve the loan for $4.5 million to acquire those three corners. The purchase price with the county is $4,085,955. This would also approve the repayment and transfer agreement. What that document would do is, once the city has title to the three corners property, it will be immediately transferred to the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority for redevelopment. The city would pledge to allocate interest payments on the loan, which would be about $135,000 per year. And that would be pledged from the general fund. And then further would be a pledge from the proceeds from the resale of these three corners for redevelopment. The interest is prime less 0.25 basis points, which currently is 3%, and that is the same that we have gotten on our other recent loans from the City of Muskogee Foundation. This is a 5-year interest-only loan with the balloon payment due at the end of the 5 years, which is the exact same terms that we had on the loan for the southwest portion for $1.1 million. And luckily, we had Quick Trip purchase that one, and we're able to pay it off, with the exception, I think, of a pending interest payment that's being discussed well within that time frame. So we're confident once we have these properties in hand, we can work to clear up any title issues, and then work with adjoining property owners where necessary to create larger parcels for redevelopment. Since this resolution does incur indebtedness, it does require a 3/4 majority to pass, and does require a 3/4 majority to waive competitive bidding, since this note will be sold directly to the City of Muskogee Foundation. There is one change from the resolution, and that is a strike through of the line, "No interest shall be assessed for early payoff prior to the accrual of the first interest payment or payment date thereafter." The City of Muskogee Foundation is taking out a loan and pledging its proceeds so that it can have its cash in place. And so since the foundation would be incurring interest on the loan, they want to pass that along to us as well. And I'm happy to answer any questions, but I recommend approval.
We have one person that would like to speak to us on this issue. Would you like to hear that now? Okay. Teresa Rutlinger. Name, address, and you will have 5 minutes.
This is the Redevelopment Authority meeting, right?
No.
Yes.
Mine's supposed to be on the special call meeting.
Okay. I had you down on this item. All right. My apology.
Okay. I got a question.
We're going to wear you out today, just getting you back up and down.
Now, is the foundation going to be owning this property?
No.
It'll be us, right?
Yes.
Okay, and we're going to borrow the money from the foundation?
Correct.
And we're going to turn around and pay the foundation $130,000 in interest?
Yes.
Isn't that city money? I mean, the foundation, why are we borrowing the money and then having to pay $130,000 for our own money? That's just my question.
Well, I don't have an answer for that, because there is a substantial amount of debate as to whether that's city money or not, because that money that created the foundation was established by the Muskogee Hospital Authority. And since we're sitting now as the trust, those two entities are completely different. And we have pledged interest rates to borrow that money for all of the other loans that we have taken out. Now, there is a potential that we could ask for a waiver of the interest, but so far we have not had to do that in the other loans that we've had. I'm not saying that it couldn't be done, but there is a dispute as to whether that's, as you said, our money. So,
well, I figure anything that helps move our city forward is our money. I just can't see taking $130,000 out of general fund and paying interest rate on our money, so our foundation money. I've just had that question.
Sales tax is up 7.7%, sir.
It's still our money.
And there are many who would agree with you on that. But when we're talking about legal entities, they're distinct.
My hope is our community is growing and moving. Mm-hmm. Our hope is we will not own this property long.
There you go.
Right. Amen. I agree with you.
I don't want to see us pay any interest. Our hope is, and our intent is not to own this property. Our intent is to turn this property over. It's been sitting long enough, and our intent is to make it a viable, movable property, and for us to not pay interest the shortest period of time possible.
It's only been sitting about 60 years.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I agree with y'all. We need to do something with it. I just that interest word just kind of got me. Everything else I'm fine with.
It's a lot of money, so that interest is a lot of money too. But
other questions or comments?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other comments? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries, and that concludes our agenda. We will now go to the special call. Teresa, you're on this one, right? If I'm right.
The only one left.
We'll now call to order our special call meeting of the Muskogee City Council. Roll call, please.
Mayor Bob Coburn.
Here.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Here.
Dan Hall.
Present.
Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Janie Boydston.
Here.
Wayne Johnson.
Here.
Leanne Langston.
Here.
Ivory Van. Derek Reed.
Here.
We are accounted for. Item number 1.
Consider approval of a resolution approving the incurrence of indebtedness by Muskogee Redevelopment Authority, issuing a note, Series 2015C, in the aggregate principal amount of $4,500,000 to acquire certain necessary real property for economic development of an area generally described as the three corners of U.S. Highway 69 and U.S. Highway 62, Shawnee Avenue, subject to the note indenture and loan agreement, providing that the organizational document creating the authority is subject to the provisions of the note, indenture, and loan agreement, authorizing the issuance of said note, waiving competitive bidding, and approving the sale of the note directly to the City of Muskogee Foundation, approving and authorizing execution of the repayment and transfer agreement by and between the City of Muskogee, Oklahoma, and the authority pertaining to transfer of the real property and repayment of interest obligations on a year-to-year pledge of appropriations and subject property, ratifying the agreement to purchase real property between the Board of County Commissioners of Muskogee County and the City of Muskogee, and authorizing and directing the execution of other documents relating to the transaction or take other necessary action.
And for reading that perfectly, you get 2 pieces of candy, and Mr. Tucker, you're up again.
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council.
Pam never got that deal.
All right, this is the City Council's approval of the indebtedness of one of its public trusts, namely the Muskogee Redevelopment Authority that I just spoke about. Again, this is a $4.5 million loan, interest rate minus 0.25 prime, minus 0.25%. This resolution also approves and ratifies the sales agreement with the county for the $4,085,955.14. Happy to answer any questions.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 2.
Consider approval of an agreement between the City of Muskogee and necessary property owners related to the acquisition and or transfer of certain real property for the purpose of economic development or take other necessary action.
Mr. Tucker again.
Mayor, members of the council, this is an economic development agreement between the city and Inhofe Land and Cattle Company and the University Heights LLC. As many of you will remember, when we first approached the Board of County Commissioners to sell us these three corners, there was an objection filed by Mr. Inhofe and Mr. Stout as adjoining property owners. In that objection, they claimed a right of first refusal as provided by a 2011 state statute that provided that when an entity condemned property and it later deemed that condemned property surplus, that the adjoining property owner had the right of first refusal. With discussions with Mayor Coburn and discussions with Mr. Inhofe and Mr. Stout's attorney, discussed their legal position. We discussed our position, making the determination that rather than argue the meaning of the statute through court, it would be better if we sat down and worked out an agreement, and that's what we did. The agreement that is before you provides that the city will acquire the three corners from the Board of County Commissioners. We will then sell the southeast corner to Inhofe Land and Cattle and University Heights for the sales price of $3.20 a square foot, which is $610,933.09. Of course, that excludes the right-of-way, since we're already going to be conveying that to ODOT in exchange for their property on the northwest and northeast corners. Inhofe Land and Cattle and University Heights will develop the property independently, and then they will agree to execute quitclaim deeds on the northwest and northeast portions, so that we don't have to have that argument of whether or not they were entitled to a right of first refusal. We're essentially agreeing that they will convey that whatever right they had to us in those northwest and northeast parcels, and in exchange, we will, as I said, convey the southeast corner. This will not cost us any money because they're paying us the same price that we've paid for it at $3.20 per square foot. There has been a question asked why they were afforded the same $3.20 that we were, assuming that they were entitled to a right of first refusal. The fair market value the appraisal of per square foot for all three corners was $4.00. The county is prohibited from selling property at less than 80% of the appraised value. The 80% of the appraised value is 320 cents a square foot. So if they were, if the county were to deem that this property needs to be auctioned or rather sold to the adjoining property owners, it would not be uncommon for them to also get the 80% price, since that's the floor that the county would have been able to sell the property for anyway. So in this case, we're just essentially inserting ourselves as the middleman from that, and in exchange, we're getting quitclaim deeds for the northwest and northeast corners. Additionally, they have agreed in this document to cooperate with us on the redevelopment of the northeast and northwest corners. Since Inhofe Land and Cattle does own adjoining property to those corners, we have agreed to cooperate in the development of those two corners, and of course that will be under a separate agreement, but nonetheless this evidences all the parties' good faith in anticipating doing that. Happy to answer any questions.
So,
recommend approval.
I got a question. So we're going to receive more land on that northeast corner behind where we just bought, where we're going to purchase?
We're not going to be receiving it. They're going to be conveying whatever right they had pursuant to that statute I was referencing in the property that we're buying from the county. And we're agreeing to develop, to work together to develop the remaining portion, which would be a combined parcel of the city and Inhofe Land and Cattle.
Which could encompass 25 or 30 acres.
Yes.
On both northeast and northwest corners.
I'm going to use a business name on there, and I hope nobody laughs. But is that like back where Little Secrets is and all that?
Little Secrets is on the northeast corner, but yes.
Okay.
That's owned by Inhofe Land and Cattle as well, I believe.
Do we have any idea what they would be developing on the southeast corner?
No, as I understand it, it'll be a complementary business to the University Heights facility, because that's what Mr. Stout owns. It's a suite of office buildings. Bob, do you have any other?
I don't have anything further than that.
But
No.
we won't have any legal obligations for that piece of property. That'll still be under Inhofe, right?
Southeast?
That northeast corner. Where the
Correct.
Little Secret is, we won't have any legal obligations.
No, that's not ours.
Okay, good.
Other than we go enter into a co-development agreement, which just says that we're willing to put up our property, you're willing to put up your property to make a larger parcel, which could be developed in a significant way.
But there's no
Yeah, but there's no legal.
Well, and I think I can say this clearly, there's no intent to buy additional property on those corners.
Well, the only
'cause we're
reason
gonna
why is
try
I
to-
didn't know how far back we're going to go towards that salvage yard and stuff, and with all the fluids and everything that leak out of cars and everything that were there at one time, I would hate to be into a environmental issue dealing with that. I don't want to have to put the city in a situation where we'd have to clean that up. That's my only concern. That sounds good.
We did submit letters of request, and I think I'm right on this, Gary, for those three corners with DEQ, and we got nothing back that said there was any issues with that site.
Correct, on the county property.
Yes, on the county property.
So the environmentals have been done on all three locations?
I'll verify that, but that's.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That was my only concern.
My concern is the corridor coming in to our town south on 69 Highway is unattractive, to say the least. And getting hold of these four corners, I think, is vital as to what we do to it. We need to be very careful. And I heard some good faith agreements and things, that concerns me a little bit. And you all probably have more idea than I about what could potentially go in there and what kind of controls we might have. I mean, I have concerns about that being.
Let me help.
Okay,
I can
thank you.
address where you're headed with that, I think. Our
Okay.
concern is, from my standpoint, or from representing the city standpoint, is that we don't end up with a hodgepodge on those corners that is just one little development, another little development, another little development, but a master plan on what 20 or 30 acres could look like, which could include retail, it could include retail restaurant, it can include multifamily locations, it can include office park locations, it can include green spaces, and that a master plan be done for both of those corners, and then submit it for a co-development plan to see what someone could do in terms of coming back and developing the corner. But as opposed to individuals possibly selling off small parcels, so it just becomes sort of a hodgepodge look at the corner. In hopes that we make an attractive corridor into our city that represents what we want to look like in the future.
Okay, that does help. That's only on the northeast and northwest corners, though,
Yes.
correct?
And you already had the definition of the southwest corner.
Yeah, again, that's good faith, right? I mean, okay.
You're talking about the southeast
Yes,
corner.
I mean, I'm talking about
Yeah,
southeast corner.
we don't have, there are no control other than what the zoning codes are, that it must be developed commercially. And that we will, I mean, they still need our assistance to work with ODOT to get those approaches set forth in the deeds, because the drawing that I showed you was what the city and ODOT had agreed to, but it hasn't been established through deeds yet because we didn't have control of the property to be able to make that pledge.
Right.
But we have a letter agreement that says if we do, here's what we're going to do, and in exchange, you're going to give us your property. But no, I mean, there's no right of first refusal that the city can approve whatever business they have. Now, I would say that, Mr. Stout through University, I don't know if it's through University Heights, but there may be several other corporations that he's created. I mean, they do have developments throughout the city. There's one on South York, where the Come and Go was, and then there is one on Muskogee that may be very close to the turn where Muskogee becomes Chandler Road. There used to be a resale shop, and those have all been refaced as well. But those are developments that he has done in the city, which may help to alleviate some of the concerns that he is a good corporate citizen and willing to.
Well, and I'm
to
not
do those
questioning that. I'm just saying that this would be the time to ask those questions.
Sure.
What is the zoning on that corner right now?
There are several different zoning classifications. There's some residential, some commercial, and a little bit of industrial. But if you look at the land use map, it shows it all as C3 regional commercial, and that's what it would be rezoned to in the future.
Okay.
Which on the C3, basically it's saying businesses that typically produce sales tax for that corridor, for that area.
Okay, but that's on the future land use map,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
When would those changes take effect?
That would be when the property is rezoned, whether it be when the city gets it and rezones it, or when the developer comes in and wants to develop the entire portion.
I would like to see that happen sooner than later.
It will take about 60 days for all the legal and abstracting and all that stuff to take place. During that 60-day period, could we make that zoning request technically when the city has ownership of it?
That would make me feel
Or
a
the
lot
property.
better.
We could do that. I mean, we're not doing any title cleanup on the southeast corner.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Move for approval?
Second.
And a motion is second. Any other thoughts or considerations?
I think you have a speaker on this.
We have a speaker. Mr. Rutlinger, now I'm about to forget you. Come on. Just come up right now. And even if it's not the right time, we're going to let you talk anyway.
There you go.
Teresa
Name and
Rutlinger.
address.
Teresa Rutlinger, 2500 Shelby Court. Good afternoon, good evening, don't know what time it is right now. I realize the city's not in the real estate business, but they're interested in revenue from developed land. However, I was under the wrong impression on the 2011 law. I thought that was the law that we had here in the city, that if you had a vacant lot, that yes, city, yeah. So that's completely out of the thing. So I thought it was residential land, not commercial. Don't understand why we are selling land at $3 a square foot. Why we're giving a 20% discount. You said it had to do with the appraisal. Well, that was an old appraisal from way back when that the county did, because when you bought the new stuff, they decided not to do a new appraisal. So this is an appraisal that is years old versus a 6-month appraisal. The gentleman that brought in Quick Trip and the Urban Renewal Shopping Center had made the comment that once Quick Trip went in, that the other 3 corners would just be kind of like a hotcake type thing, or it would develop, and so it would carry on down Shawnee and everything like that. So I find it very hard to believe that we would be selling land for $3.20 a square foot when Urban Renewal is paying people at least not even on the frontage of Shawnee, $4.25 a square foot. That's about half a block back. They're paying the shopping center people paid $8 a square foot for the frontage, or about $8. Gary can probably tell me exactly what it was on the Shawnee bypass, and yet we're going to go ahead and do it for $3.20. I think if you end up doing that, then you should also be just kind of wipe your hands clean. If they're the developers, then you don't go and help them on a lot of the other stuff that we normally do help people on, because they've already gotten a bargain deal on this land. And it's not a little bit of land you're talking about. You're talking about over 4 acres, almost 4.5 acres. And it's not like it's here, we'll give you this much, and then you give us this land over here. It's just a good faith. Well, it will be in the contract. You won't come after us, on this state ordinance from 2011. And I honestly think that land on Highway 69 is going to be more expensive than the land on Shawnee anyway. So it should be more than $8 a square foot. I mean, just the more traffic you get, it's just a more visible place. You've even said that it's your, probably some of the most prime pieces of property we have in Muskogee, and we're selling it for $3.20 a square foot. I think it's horrible. And I don't care who the owners are, or the prospective people are that are going to develop it. Right is right and wrong is wrong, and I think this is wrong. And I'm going to go and say the extra little bit that I was going to wait for the city council thing too. It kind of ties in a little bit too. We're going into debt buying this land. My concern is all the money that we're spending and borrowing. Do we have a plan on how we're going to pay back these loans? I hope we have a spreadsheet of some sort. $135,000, yes, it sounds like a lot of money. Yeah, we'll just have it for 5 years. Then that balloon payment comes up. Then you're paying the interest and the principal. And this isn't the only one that we've got like this. If we have a spreadsheet and we can see when all these are coming due, and if we're really going to be able to afford it, or if we're going to go into bankruptcy or close to it. I'm all for us doing and growing and all that, but not at the expense of us falling flat on our faces, or the demise of our town or our city. And this is kind of like the payout thing. Everybody was aware at some point in time people are going to retire and we'd have to do the payout. Well, in 5 years' time, we're going to be paying interest and principal on multiple loans, and we need to make sure that we've got a way to go ahead and pay that back. And I guess I'm about running out of time, but I'm just concerned.
Thank you for your comments. We have a motion and a second, is that correct? Mm-hmm. Okay. Is there further comments or discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Wayne Johnson.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Item number, what, 3, I'm sorry.
Consider approval of the preliminary and final plat for Three Rivers Plaza addition consisting of one lot on 13.3 acres located on the south side of Shawnee Avenue, west of 6th Street, or take other necessary action.
Who's this one? Gary. Mr. Garvin.
Mayor, members of the council, the applicant, Jim Deal, is requesting approval of a preliminary and final plat of River City Plaza addition consisting of one lot on 13.3 acres. The property is located on the southwest corner of 6th Street in Shawnee. It's part of Phase 1A of the urban renewal area. The reason for platting the property is to allow it to be developed commercially. This is the proposed location of Three Rivers Plaza, which will include the Dick's Sporting Goods, TJ Maxx, Alta Cosmetics and Fragrance, and AT&T. This request has been reviewed and recommended for approval by the Subdivision Review Committee and Planning Commission. Be glad to answer any questions.
Questions or comments?
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any comments further? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, motion carries. Item number 4.
Consider an executive session to discuss and take possible action on the following. Pursuant to Section 307B4, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session to discuss the pending litigation involving Catherine Phillips and Orlin Phillips filed in the District Court, case number CV 2012-165 in and for Muskogee County, Oklahoma, and if necessary, take appropriate action in open session. B, pursuant to Section 307B3 and D, Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, consider convening an executive session to discuss the possible purchase or acquisition of real property located in the downtown corridor within the city of Muskogee and take any necessary action in open session.
Consider a motion regarding executive session.
Move that we go into executive session.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any comment? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes. We will now consider ourselves in executive session. If you would excuse us from the chambers. Thank you. We'll now return from executive session. Roll call.
Mayor Bob Coburn.
Here.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Here.
Dan Hall.
Here.
Marlon Coleman.
Here.
Janie Boydston.
Here.
Leanne Langston.
Here.
Derek Reed.
Here.
Mr. Tucker, 4A and B.
Pursuant to Section 4A, pursuant to Section 307B4 Title 25 Oklahoma statutes, the City Council did convene an executive session to discuss the ongoing litigation involving Catherine Phillips and Orlin Phillips, District Court case number CV 2012-165. After being fully briefed on the status of that litigation and the recent denial of rehearing by the Court of Civil Appeals, I believe it's appropriate now that we have a motion to approve the filing of a writ of certiorari with the Oklahoma Supreme Court.
Move for approval.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes.
Item 4B, pursuant to Section 307B, 3 and D, Title 25, Oklahoma statutes, the City Council did convene an executive session to discuss the purchase or acquisition of real property located in the downtown corridor. After being fully briefed on the status of those negotiations, those discussions, I believe it's appropriate that we have a motion to authorize the city attorney to finalize negotiations for the acquisition of property discussed in executive session, and to further authorize the city manager to execute all necessary documents to facilitate the same.
Move for approval.
Got a
Second.
motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Roll call.
Deputy Mayor James Scully.
Yes.
Janie Boydston.
Yes.
Dan Hall.
Yes.
Marlon Coleman.
Yes.
Leanne Langston.
Yes.
Derek Reed.
Yes.
Mayor Coburn.
Yes, that motion passes, and that concludes our agenda for today. Thank you for being part of our special call council meeting.